Hey friends, welcome back to Theme Park Guide Productions. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you my top 14 coasters at Carowinds. This is an amusement park that's located in the border of Charlotte, North Carolina and Fort Mill, South Carolina. It is home to 14 different roller coasters, and they have a fantastic variety of coasters ranging from mild thrill coasters to big and intense scream machines. There is something for everyone here at Carowinds. I personally have ridden all of the roller coasters at this park. In today's video, I'll be ranking the roller coasters from worst to first. Number 14, Wilderness Run. This is a small-scale E&F Miler kiddie coaster, and this is just your average ordinary kids coaster, so there isn't really much to talk about here, so I'm naturally putting this in last place. Number 13, Kitty Hawk. This is an older Vekoma family suspended coaster, but I honestly don't know why this is a kiddie coaster because this is easily one of the most painful roller coasters in the world. The layout is just like a standard Vekoma roller skater, but it's inverted. However, the trains shake you around way too much, and with how the restraints are designed, you get tons of head bashing, and it's just a very painful experience. Definitely one of my least favorite roller coasters. Number 12, Ricochet. This is your standard Mock Rides Wild Mouse, which is mainly a bunch of sharp turns and drops. However, these coasters are really ones that you just ride to get the credit. They are all practically the same, and this is no different. However, it's still a better ride than Kitty Hawk. Number 11, Woodstock Express. This is a classic PTC family wooden roller coaster, and for being a small-scale coaster, it's not a bad little ride at all. It has some fun little dips that provide some decent airtime for a family coaster, and it doesn't run too rough. This is definitely one of the best family wooden coasters around, and much better than your standard kiddie coaster. Number 10, Snoopy's Racing Railway. This is an art engineering launch kiddie coaster, and out of the kids coasters here at Carowinds, this is definitely the best one. It has two launches, one out of the station and another halfway through the ride, and you go through some very fun turns. It's very smooth, and plus you even get to go through the layout twice, which adds to the value of your ride. Definitely one of the best kiddie coasters around. Number 9, Vortex. This is a B&M stand-up coaster, and it's one of the oldest operating B&M coasters around, and you can definitely tell its age by how rough the ride runs. The coaster does have a good layout featuring two inversions and some forceful helixes, but I don't know what happened to this coaster compared to my last rides on it in 2019, but it runs super rough for B&M. During parts of the ride, I felt like my head was getting punched by a boxer, and it's also not the most comfortable to ride. I don't mind B&M stand-up trains necessarily, but these restraints are much bulkier, so it made the experience that more uncomfortable. What's sad is that I've had good rides on this coaster in the past, but unfortunately, this coaster took a big dive in my rankings, and it's by far the worst B&M coaster that I've done. Number 8, Carolina Gold Rusher. This is an Aerodynamics mine train coaster, and this is currently the oldest operating coaster in the park. However, despite its age, it delivers a pretty fun mine train experience. The layout mainly consists of some straight track, helixes, and a very fun tunnel at the end of the ride. But with these mine train coasters, I do like how long these rides are. This one may not be as long as something like Big Thunder Mountain from the Disney parks, but it does deliver a nice long ride experience. Plus, with how janky it is, it does add some extra thrill to the coaster. It's not the painful kind of janky, but it's the vintage kind that you'd expect from a classic mine train. While it's not my favorite mine train coaster in my books, it's still a decent family coaster overall. Number 7, Carolina Cyclone. This is an Aerodynamics custom looping coaster, and this coaster is about as standard as they get. However, it does have a decent kick to it. The layout consists of 2 loops and 2 corkscrews with a helix thrown at the end, but you pull some surprising intensity through those inversions. Unfortunately, on my most recent rides, I did find this coaster to be rougher than it was during my previous rides due to some new trains that were added from Vortex at Kings Island. However, the roughness is still not that bad in my opinion, and I've been on far worse aero coasters that are more painful. Corkscrew at Cedar Point. However, this ride is pretty basic, but it does have a nice kick to it, and I highly recommend experiencing it. Number 6, the Flying Cobras. This is a traditional Vekoma boomerang coaster, and I know people are not fans of the boomerang model. However, I'm one of those guys that actually likes boomerangs. You start off with a backwards lift, and then the catch car drops you into a cobra roll and a loop. Afterwards, you do the whole ride backwards, and these boomerang coasters pull some good intensity, and this boomerang is no different. I go as far to say that this is one of the best boomerangs that I've done. The vest restraints help eliminate any headbanging possible that could take place. The coaster may be very basic overall, but I do enjoy this coaster. Number 5, Hurler. This is an International Coasters Incorporated wooden coaster, and looking at this coaster, you'd expect this ride to be terrible, rough, headache-inducing, and not a pleasant ride experience. However, this coaster surprisingly delivers a pretty darn smooth wooden coaster experience. It doesn't jackhammer you that much, so you're able to enjoy the layout, which mainly consists of airtime hills and turns. My big drawback for this ride is that you don't get much airtime on this coaster. Like, I consider this to be one of the more forgettable wooden coasters out there. However, this coaster could be far worse. I overall do enjoy Hurler. I think it's a good wooden coaster, but it's not my favorite in the park. Number 4, Thunder Striker. This is a B&M Hyper coaster, and after my 2019 visits, I felt like this coaster was very boring and lacked any airtime. However, my most recent rides on this coaster were far superior. This coaster delivers some fantastic floater airtime throughout the course, and the trim brakes were not much of a buzzkill this go around. Plus, the coaster runs incredibly smooth. Now, the hills and layout of this coaster are much more drawn out, so you don't fly through the hills as fast as you would on nearby coasters. For example, look at Goliath at Six Flags over Georgia. You fly through those hills very fast, but on this one, they're a little more drawn out, so the pacing isn't as fast. So for that reason, I do have this coaster as a lower tier B&M Hyper, but I still think this is a fantastic roller coaster that is one of the big star attractions at Carowinds worth riding. For example, you can never go wrong with the B&M Hyper. Even if it's a weaker tier B&M Hyper, still one of the best coasters around, and I highly recommend experiencing it. Number 3, Afterburn. This is a B&M inverted coaster, and I don't know what it is about this ride, but it is perhaps the most intense inverted coaster that I have ever done. The layout is filled with the various whippy inversions that you'd expect from an invert, such as a vertical loop, Immelman, and a 0G roll, but then you got the Batwing, which also dives into a tunnel, and you take this inversion super fast. Unlike Montu, this inversion isn't trimmed, so you feel the full power of the positive G-forces. You also have a corkscrew towards the end of the ride that you fly through so stupidly fast that it feels like you're getting teleported. Plus, the coaster runs quite smooth, it has a loud roar to it, and it's overall one of the most underrated inverted coasters out there. The best way to describe this ride is if you combine Montu and Batman the Ride. I overall love this coaster. It still holds up in my rankings and is one worth riding. Number 2, Copperhead Strike. This is a Mock Rides multi-launch coaster, and this might have to be one of the most surprising coasters around. You start off with a wild JoJo roll outside of the station, giving you some insane hang time right out of the gate. Even after having ridden this coaster in 2019, this element still got me really good on my most recent rides. During the coaster, you got 2 launches, multiple inversions which deliver some fantastic hang time, and various ejector pops and fast-paced twists and turns. If I were to critique this coaster, I do wish the launches were more punchy. I know this isn't Stardust Racers at Epic Universe, but the launches on this coaster are laughably forceless, and you don't feel much power during those launches. However, other than that, this is still one fantastic launch coaster, and a coaster you have to ride at Carowinds. Number 1, Fury 325. This is a B&M Giga Coaster, and there is a reason why this coaster is consistently ranked number 1 on the Golden Ticket Awards for the best deal coaster, and that is because this ride delivers an incredible coaster experience. I mean, just walking up to this coaster, it looks massive. You can see Fury from anywhere inside the park, and it dominates the skyline overall. Going into the coaster, you start off with a giant lift hill where you get an incredible view of the whole park, and then you go down a massive drop that just goes on for an eternity. I mean, it feels like you're skydiving forever. And then you're speeding at 95 miles per hour through fields, pathways, and you even zoom under a pedestrian bridge. Plus, it runs very smooth. The best way to describe Fury 325 is that it is a speed demon. You keep that speed going consistently throughout the ride, and it's just relentless. Plus, it's one of the most re-rideable coasters anywhere. I love just going back in line, and this coaster is just one of those I just love riding over and over again, and I'll still never get tired of it. It's overall one of my favorite coasters of all time, my favorite B&M coaster ever, and the crown jewel of Carowinds' coaster lineup. To summarize this video up, Carowinds is a fantastic park with an incredible lineup of coasters. Whether that would be from one of the various kiddie coasters to the high-intensity thrill rides, there is something for everyone at this park. However, this is how I'd rank the coasters of Carowinds. And without further ado, I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe as well for more videos in the future if you enjoyed this one. And don't forget to turn on those post notifications so you guys know when I upload a new video. And as always, make sure to check out Theme Park Guide Productions as well on all social media platforms. Linktree will be in the description below. I will see you guys next time, and as always, you are clear for dispatch.